And I look up and I go, Shane Gillis is hosting the ESPYs and he's cracking these jokes? Are you kidding me? This is the white flag of surrender. And literally on the same day, Fox Sports, look, I have mixed feelings about Dave Portnoy, but I cannot deny what Barstool and Dave Portnoy represent. They are not politically correct. Dave Portnoy may dabble in a little political correctness, but when Fox Sports is having to bring over Dave Portnoy and Barstool to save itself, it's an indication like there's a cultural shift. Woke sports is waving the white flag of surrender. I want to play you some of these jokes that Shane Gillis cracked at the ESPYs. I'm sure some of you, many of you have heard them and saw them, but I'm not sure if you recognize the significance of perhaps the most politically incorrect comedian being able to host the ESPYs and being allowed to crack these jokes. You got to remember what the ESPYs are. Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, got a Courage Award for changing his gender. You got Serena Williams and all these people hosting and wagging their fingers and all that just feminist woke garbage that has been spewed at us from that platform of the ESPY Awards. And now Shane Gillis is on there cracking these jokes. Let's play them back to back. It's the first 4 shots of just Shane Gillis cracking jokes that would have never been allowed before.
4-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that. The New York Knicks had a great season. Yeah, hell yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Hey, girl. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist-fighting black women. It's supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on.
That, and there's a bunch of other jokes that he cracked. That was a surrender. I wish I had done the homework. I can't. When Robert E. Lee, where did he surrender at? Appomattox or what? Did I just screwed that up? That's what that was. Excuse me? Where did he surrender? Appomattox Courthouse. My memory is that good. My memory and my history is that good. That's what that was. That was Robert E. Lee, a rebel, Shane Gillis, doing the surrender deal for the whole woke culture at Disney. I mean, when I saw that, when I saw those clips circulating on social media, I was like, we won. We popped woke culture. You get that? Popped woke culture. We won. And when I say we, I'm including myself, and I'm going to include people that, you know, I got mixed feelings about for sure. But I literally did think about Clay Travis and Outkick. And like people that have been on the front lines the entire time when there was a price to pay for being politically incorrect and for standing your ground. You got to tip your hat to Clay Travis and Outkick. You got to tip your hat to Riley Gaines, the swimmer. You got to tip your hat to Pat McAfee. And I know he's over the edge, but he's not woke. And you got to tip your hat to Dave Portnoy, as I already have. These are what I'm calling my Purple Heart people of the woke culture, the popping of the woke culture movement. And we have to celebrate this. We can't sit around I can't and be cynical and act like we're not making real progress in this culture war. So I think about Bobby Burack, who works for Outkick and stands his ground. I think about Sage Steele that lost her job at ESPN because she wouldn't back down. I think about Michelle Tafoya that left NBC Sports and Sunday Night Football to get into podcast lane so she could speak her mind. I think about Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, that went to a Catholic university and spoke Catholic truths to a bunch of other Catholics and took all kinds of hell. I think about Antonio Brown. Yes, I know he's wanted right now for attempted murder. Yes, I know he's apparently fled the country. But whoever's been running AB's Twitter feed, hats off to you, hats off to AB, hats off to all of these people that stood their ground and help us win this part of the culture war. And so and look, did it take 10 years? Yes, it took 10 years. But this is why you never give up. Because even if it takes 10 years, it's well worth it. And I hope that you will be inspired by the progress, the obvious progress, that Disney, a grooming institution, the headquarters for the alphabet mafia, they had to wave the white flag. Oh, okay, Shane Gillis, come on up here. These lesbian jokes, these LGBTQ insensitive jokes, these jokes about these black queens and them beating up Caitlin Clark. Whatever joke you want, Shane, we have to surrender. This is what victory looks like, tastes like, is, and we have to celebrate it because it's inspiration. It's an indication that we should continue the fight and we should switch targets. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I do want, I do want to talk about just a tiny bit negative about some of the turncoats that I'm calling them. People that should have stayed in the fight with the rest of us. But they felt like they couldn't go the Pat McAfee route. They couldn't go the Clay Travis route. Because Clay Travis and Pat McAfee, they got big checks. Even though they fought against this woke culture. They got big checks. You didn't have to sell out. You didn't have to be a turncoat to get a big check. You needed a pair of balls to stand your ground, and they did it. But here's some people that didn't, and I'm going to say up front, there's a couple of guys on this list that I like and that I respect. I have to say that. But I also have to say they sold out. So here's my list of turncoats. Dan Le Batard. And, you know, Dan Le Batard used to be my best friend in the sports media. I still, know Dan's entire family, knew his brother that passed away. You know, I still have warm feelings for Dan Le Batard, but I just don't trust him because he's a turncoat. This is a guy that years ago got in trouble for writing a column that basically said that Patrick Ewing was a gorilla or a monkey or looked like one or something like that. And now he's a guy that is complaining about Shane Gillis cracking WNBA jokes. Now he's a guy surrounded by a bunch of woke little kids that want to point their finger, oh, you can't those jokes, you got it. Dan Le Batard, turncoat, and I like Dan. Or I have warm memories of my friendship with Dan. Bill Simmons is my favorite sports columnist of all time, but he's a turncoat. But Bill Simmons used to write the funniest stuff in sports media that I didn't write. My favorite sports columnist of all time. I laugh out loud. Used to write things and have a little gimmick about guess who's a WNBA player and guess who's an NBA player, and he'd put pictures up side by side, and you couldn't tell who was the WNBA player and who was the NBA player. Now, to get that Grantland money or the Ringer money or whatever, Bill Simmons, very politically correct or very quiet on this front, tends to avoid it. He's kind of like Jimmy Kimmel that was on The Man Show, and the next thing you know, Jimmy Kimmel is one of the most woke, politically correct people in all the media. I have very warm feelings towards Bill Simmons, and my memories of his politically incorrect and very, very provocative, ahead of the curve, informative columns, someone that I respect. The next person, Skip Bayless, sellout, turncoat, in my opinion. I don't know anybody else in the sports media that has kissed, and I'm just going to keep it real, guys, has kissed more black butt than Skip Bayless, has shoved his head up the rear end of any and everything black, trying to protect himself from criticism because he used to criticize LeBron James. Running around pretending like him and Lil Wayne are BFF, running around with a little gold chain and the Air Jordan shoes. The man's 70-some-odd years old. Turncoat. Next guy I got a lot of respect for, former co-worker, still does some good stuff from time to time, but Cowherd basically stayed on the porch during this entire war and would pretend to be woke. You know, he's one of these guys that, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm a social liberal. And my best friend is Bill Romanowski, but I'm telling you, I like Cowherd. I like what he does from time to time. Because now that the wind is blowing the other direction, he's aware that the wind is blowing the other direction. We're about to see the real Colin Cowherd again from time to time. But I got to call him a turncoat. Sorry, Colin. Sarah Spain and Katie Nolan, these guys are easy for me. I don't like either one of them. Sarah Spain entered the media universe by offering up her breast herself for Super Bowl tickets. And now is one of the biggest woke scolds in the history of sports media. She hates everything, including Shane Gillis's brilliant hosting of the ESPY Awards. And Katie Nolan is basically white Joy Taylor, who was supposed to be some sort of rebel, supposed to be, you know, some kind of provocative, edgy talk show host. She was going to set the sports media on fire. She's always been a corporate clown and a Joy Taylor, the original Joy Taylor, laid the blueprint and the foundation for someone like Joy Taylor to even exist. Anyway, all these people turncoats. If I've left someone off, credit for being, you know, one of these Purple Heart winners, or if I've left someone off that's a turncoat, let me know in the chat, let me know via email. But I just want to start there by declaring victory. We took a major scalp in the culture war. We have returned to sanity as it relates to this wokeness in the sports media when someone like Pat McAfee is basically the face of ESPN, and the guy's not politically correct. I don't agree with everything he does. I don't